Kook. Do it because I told you to. Come on. Closes his eyes again, and presses himself very close. He mumbles into the collar of Mr. Kim, I'm so close, look at me, the man commands, but Jungkook is barely audible, and all his movements are already turning into reflexes. I said look at me, Taehyung repeats louder. And when Jungkook does not answer, continuing to close his eyes tightly and breathe noisily and confused into his shoulder, the man abruptly wraps his arm around the boy's neck, pulling Jungkook back a little so that he still does not lose, and forcing him to raise his head so that he can see Jungkook's face clearly. Jungkook breathes hoarsely, his eyes still closed, and Taehyung sees him frowning and whining through clenched teeth. Come for me, baby. Right now, Mr. Kim. He whimpers again in a breath through his teeth as Mr. Kim. Jungkook is breathing hard and still shaking, and he probably would have completely collapsed if the man's hand was not still squeezing his neck, and the other was not lying on his ass. The boy exhales, lowering his head, and now Taehyung's hand that was squeezing Jungkook's neck is stroking his cheek, even feeling a bead of sweat running down his temple. Good boy, Taehyung grins smugly, casually and slightly rough slapping his cheek, sobering Jungkook's mind. Jungkook almost comes to his senses. He opens his eyes as if he's completely wasted, and looks around lostly until he meets those dark and green eyes under lower brows again. The man smirks out of the corner of his lips as he watches the boy, then looks down, removing his hand from his cheek. Enjoying it, he chuckles, laughing harshly as he licks his own lips. Do you like baby? Jungkook is unable to break the eye contact. He can feel the confident gaze of those emerald eyes hypnotizing him, still making his knees tremble. He obediently collects whatever is given to him by this man. Such a good boy, Taehyung nods contentedly. So obedient, Jungkook, shuddering, and moves away for a few seconds to feel the floor firmly under his feet. He looks around, finding where the pieces of his costume are lying around, and begins to collect them. He pulls on his boxers and a t-shirt. Jungkook swallows and inhales deeply, forcing his rapidly beating heart to calm down. Wringing his fingers behind his back, he hesitantly walks back to the chair, bashfully looking down. Pay me, he mutters, his voice sagging slightly, and then he holds out his hand. I did what you asked for. You promised to pay, of course, Taehyung chuckles, nodding his head. Rising lazily to his feet, he grunts, once again running his eyes over the young body, and then reaches into the pocket of his trousers. A small leather wallet, mostly filled with bank cards, but Taehyung still fishes out large bills and hands them to the boy, pinching them between his. But just as Jungkook is about to pick them up, the man jerks his hand up. We are gonna do it again, but Jungkook snorts, jerking the bills out of his fingers. I don't think so. The boy tucks the money into the back of his boxers, then looks him up and down, shaking his head. You're just, Mr. Kim, you were enjoying it too, he winks as he grins, and Jungkook snorts. Do not ever ask me to dance for you again, that's not for you to decide, honey, I have the right to refuse clients, not in this case, Taehyung laughs, shaking his head as he strokes his side-swept bangs with his fingertips. Go home, Jungkook. Take a good nap. You are free for tonight, but if you're letting me go already, I could work some more and, I didn't say I was letting you go. I said that you are free for tonight and that you should go home. I bought you out for the rest of the night, remember? So I am the one who decides what you will do. I'm not some kind. It's not how it works, the boy grimaces. I own this place anyway, Taehyung shrugs, watching him with pleasure. this slightly disheveled hair and a blush that still hasn't left Jungkook's cheeks. "And I forbid you to continue working tonight. Go to Andy and tell him to give you your payment for the night. And tell him that it is my order, but no buts, Jungkook." The man touches Jungkook's lips with his fingers, remembering how he did it just a few minutes ago, forcing Jungkook to taste himself. "I said, so you have to do it. I thought we agreed that you are a good and obedient boy." Jungkook swallows nervously, feeling a little heaviness in his chest, slowly descending into his stomach like a huge rock. "Have I made myself clear?" The man raises an eyebrow, looking smugly at the youthful face. "Yes, Mr. Kim. Good night, Jungkook." Taekook smiles, leaning into his ear. "Thank you for the dance. Get yourself a cab," he whispers, slipping another bill into the boy's boxers, and without another word the man slowly leaves the room, leaving Jungkook alone with the measured deep music and the smell of his own fall in the air. "You thought you were already at the very bottom, Jungkook. And now he has come and shown that you can fall even lower." He mentally sighs, lowering his shoulders, and something incomprehensible, something bittersweet, which painfully fills his throat. Jungkook stretches his neck, feeling tired and painfully crunchy as he stands behind the counter of the coffee shop. He rubs his eyes, trying to drive away the fatigue. The boy's working the morning shift again, replacing the sick Yoongi, and is glad that today there are no classes at the university that he would have to miss. Jungkook yawns as he surveys the few tiny tables in the coffee shop that are full of people. Two girls drinking coffee and eating cakes and scrolling through their phones, a woman drinking tea with cookies and reading a book, and a man working on his laptop at the table by the window. "Excuse me." The same man raises his hand, drawing a sleepy Jungkook attention to him. And the boy, straightening his apron, comes out from behind the counter, approaching his table. "Yes," he puts on a weary smile. "Is there anything else I can help you with? May I ask for another cup of coffee?" The man smiles briefly, looking up at Jungkook from his laptop. "Of course." Jungkook nods. "Which one would you like?" "Just repeat my order." The man points to his empty cup. "And add a little more sugar." Jungkook nods again, smiles at him, and turns on the heels of his shoes to walk back behind the counter to start making coffee. He pulls up his sleeves a little so as not to stain his thin light-colored jumper, and his eyes fall on a few dark spots on his wrists which were hidden under the sleeves. "Mr. Kim." Jungkook breathes out noisily. Taekook smirks, exhaling deeply, and grabs his wrists, pulling the boy even closer to him.